episode number 353, recorded 26th, 2022. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic. Yes, on gadgets, the internet, and of course you. I'm Sean Jennings. As always, by a man who definitely knows what Boxing Day is. It's Colby Rabidou. Hello, Colby.
I don't know what Boxing Day is, but I know that it's today.
Well, that's half the battle. That's half the battle. Yes, today is Boxing.
Yeah.
I believe it's our first ever. I don't think we've ever done an episode on December 26th. So, this could be our first ever Boxing Day episode.
I feel like we could consult don'tpanic.io to determine the answer to that question.
Great database.
It's a data
a tomato base.
Tomato base.
Tomato base.
Yeah.
No, we usually skip this week because usually we're busy and we were able to squeeze this in with our exciting lives. But yes, it's Boxing Day, Colby. Isn't that exciting?
Now, is there do you have to get that on pay-per-view on HBO or something?
Colby, not that kind of. Although, actually, so Boxing Day is a countries that aren't the U.S. holiday, and actually there are a lot of sports. Big for football in the UK and rugby and cricket, and actually it is a big sports day. But it dates back to the Middle Ages, if you're curious, based on a tradition where it's kind of no one really knows. It's one of those things no one really knows for sure. What they would do is the first weekday after Christmas Day, on which postmen, errand boys, and servants of various kinds expected to receive a Christmas box. A Christmas box was a present or gratuity given at Christmas. Usually, like I said, as some sort of errand boy or some sort of service position, or to servants. In Britain, it's linked to an older tradition where servants of the wealthy were allowed the next day to visit their families, since they would have to serve their masters on Christmas Day itself. The employers would give each servant a box to take home containing gifts, bonuses, and sometimes leftover food.
Nice.
And these days, especially in the UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, it's basically their Black Friday. So it's a big discount shopping holiday, another commercialized capitalist holiday.
Right. In the grand tradition, things for money.
A holiday based around giving things to those who need it, and instead making it about discount flat screen TVs. So we export only the best out of the US straight to the UK and Canada. You're welcome.
Yeah. I really productive Black Fridays. I do very much shopping on the post-Thanksgiving weekend, but I did almost all my shopping.
Just gifts or anything for yourself?
Gifts. My parents a new cordless stick vacuum for $100 off, which seemed
nice.
Good. And then Laura and I got an espresso machine, a tiny espresso machine that fit for $100 off. That was the theme of this Black Friday. It was $100 off.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty good. What about you? Did you do any discount holiday shopping?
I think specifically for... No, I really didn't do much, although I did. So in my family, we don't really... I'm of that age where I don't get gifts nor give them. But I did... I was ordering new... This is actually a new hat. I was ordering... Now that I have... Should I show off the longer hair?
Oh, yeah. Look at you, Sean.
I mean, it's really... lush. But I got it pretty short on the sides. And when I style it, it's supposedly what cool people are doing. But it's a little... too much of a mess. So but I was ordering some hats and I looked and they had some discount, a bunch of clearance stuff, so I bought my dad a couple ones things that I knew he would enjoy. But no, I really didn't. I did buy my mother. I got her a. She's big into football, and she loves Patrick Mahomes. It's like her favorite player.
Sure. Okay.
And I wanted to get her Patrick Mahomes jersey. Do you know how expensive NFL jerseys are these days? They're ludicrous.
No.
The cheapest, the bargain basement is like $80 for like an authentic like field worn one. It's like $120.
Whoa.
And I was like, absolutely not. So I had to like track knockoff China one. That cost me $40 because I'm a great son that I would not splurge on the real one. So,
Wow.
fun experience. It was some random person on Facebook Marketplace in like Iowa who I convinced to ship it to me. And it got here and it was cheaply made. So,
Right, as promised.
oh no, you can believe me. There's no confusion. Authentic.
That's substantial. That's a pretty penny for a shirt.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid. So, I said maybe we'll get her a better one some other time. She also likes Josh Allen, but I said I'm not getting you a Josh Allen jersey. I'm a Patriots fan. I can't have you walking around here in a Bills jersey. I'm so sorry. I gotta have some dignity here.
I think that's fair. Yeah, the Bills currently buried in snow from the news. From what I hear on the news.
You know, people continue to live in Western New York. No idea why. Nobody in there. Did not find much appealing about it. Got to be honest. It wasn't bad, but it also wasn't. Because there are places where even Alaska, you're like, yeah, okay, it's frigid and nothing's there, but it's got grand vistas and beauty and nature and hunting and all. Like okay, I get the pitch. Man, you look at Western New York and I'm like, what's the upside? At what time? Okay, we'll put up with like the murder snow to do this nice thing. I don't know what the nice thing is. I'm just being honest. I love Buffalo fans.
Yeah, I don't know. The big what's the time of the year when it's like this is the best?
Is there like 3 days in August where it's just really nice and everyone has a great time? There's miserable the rest of the year. I have no idea.
Right, everyone goes and hangs out at Niagara Falls, and it's awesome. Is Buffalo where we stayed when for a friend of the show, Katie's wedding? Was that where it was? In Buffalo?
No, I wasn't. I think it was in like the greater Buffalo metropolitan area.
Mm.
I don't think we were technically in Buffalo, but we were in the greater Buffalo area.
Sure. Well, what are you gonna do?
Unfortunate. What else
Hopefully,
is yeah?
It's not important.
Moving on. We got a very slight lag. We'll see how many times it gets annoying tonight. Because the internet's got to go a little farther instead of going to Boston. It's going to Rhode Island.
Yeah. I'm far away from the router too. My parents' router was installed in their basement. So.
Isn't that wild? That to my dad
thanks,
too.
FiOS guys. right. Really setting us up for success here.
Ooh, I think your parents got to put a mesh router on their wish list for Santa next year.
Yeah, some Wi-Fi 6 or something.
Really boost it up. No, I was going to ask you. We're at the end of the year. There's left in 2022, and I was going to ask, what do you most remember about 2022? When you're looking back, what are you going to recall about 2022? I know there's so many great things to pick. It's going to be hard to get just one.
Now, are we talking just technology?
I'll open the floor.
I think the thing I remember the most that has been a theme throughout the entire year is like things canceled due to illness. Like that has been the theme of my entire
Yep.
year. Like multiple vacations like just aborted or interrupted because one or more people were ill. I guess I think in a way it's good because I think in the past we would have all just gone anyways and everyone would have gotten sick. But it sure is inconvenient. It's really inconvenient when you get sick doing something you didn't want to do and then like do something you wanted to do because you got
Yep.
sick doing doing the thing you didn't want to do. So
Yeah, it's only the fun stuff that gets canceled, you know?
right. Which is lame. What else happened? Well, we had the chip shortages, right? Is that still happening? Chip shortages, supply chain.
Was that this year or last year? That's I was so lazy, but I really was gonna write up like a quiz for you, of like just telling you news stories and be like, did it happen this year? We both would have failed pretty good because I keep thinking of things and it's like, no, that was like 2 years ago or 4 years ago. Like my sense of absolutely destroyed.
Right. That was 2018.
Yeah.
That's weird. I think you still can't buy a PS5, so.
That's true. That's true. You can't. Yeah, I don't. I went to the store today. You'll never guess what item my supermarket was completely out of. Not a single size, variety, flavor, nothing. They didn't have a single one of it.
That's super. So it's like a food item.
Yes, it's a food item, and I'll because you're not going to guess it, but it's refrigerated. I'll even.
Oh, was it frozen pizzas?
It was not frozen. It was just refrigerated.
Just refrigerated. Like milk?
No, more specific.
More specific.
Yes.
Half and half?
No, it was ricotta cheese. They were out of ricotta cheese.
Now, I've never put this to the test, but I've heard that ricotta cheese is the easiest cheese to make at home. So in a pinch, you could probably get a thing of milk and whip
ricotta-fy
it. Cheese.
Yes, activate ricotta. Yeah, no, I making lasagna this week, so I needed my cheese, and for some reason they were all out. Yeah, it's still spotty. Supply chain's still a little spotty, or people just really love ricotta.
Right. Maybe Christmas a big ricotta cheese time. I don't know.
Well, that's what someone was like, lasagnas and that kind of thing are, Thanksgiving is so turkey focused, but Christmas is what people eat. So there are desserts that use ricotta as well. So
right. Oh yeah, that's true. Now I want some cheese. Ricotta. Well, good luck. I don't know. What did you do? What are you gonna do? Did you have to go to a different store?
So the plan was to make it tomorrow. I got to run some other errands, so I'll just hit up a different store. Not the end of the world.
Yeah. Cool. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to think what I am going to remember this year for, and I think a big part of it, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's a broader theme. Maybe you can jump in here. It felt like 2022 was the year all built up over 2020 and 2021 came to fruition. Like 2022, I'm going to remember as a high stress, high pressure year in general for everything. Like it seemed like just everything in life was turned up to 11 this year. And it made all of us that much more crazy. Because I think happened with COVID, we were crazy, but we were all like cooped up in our house crazy. Like we were crazy, but we weren't doing a lot. And now we're finally to the point where we're doing a bunch of stuff and we're super stressed out. So I think it all compounded where it's like we got revved up during COVID, but the engine RPM is still too high, even though we're going 80 miles per hour, and it's still revving, or some analogy like that. So that's it. It was a long year. That's what I'll remember it.
Yeah, and I feel like all the stuff that we hadn't been doing, like holidays and like just seeing people, like interacting with strangers, was so much more stressful because like you hadn't been doing it for 3 years.
Exactly.
It's like not great. Like I'm still not comfortable like greeting strangers. Like I used to be fine at that, but I can't do it anymore, and it's always weird. I've had so many weird interactions where it's like handshake, don't no handshake. Like I hate it.
Honest, what I've learned. So I was in Vegas last month. We talked about this on the show for a trade show. I'll be in Vegas again at the end of January, where all you're doing is meeting and greeting people. And I'll tell you,
Sure.
everyone's just back to the way it was. At least in my experience, there's no awkwardness, but you got to go for the handshake. You got to get in there. Like, you hesitate, you're screwed.
Or you're the weirdo.
But you just have to pretend like COVID doesn't exist. Like people right up close to you, or it's not much has changed there. At least with strangers.
Yeah, we went to a conference for work in October or something in the fall, and like we did a day at the booth, and it was super weird. I'm not sure that I cared for it, but
well, although the difference is, I bet the difference between my conferences and your conferences is that guys don't walk around to your conferences with F. Joe Brandon shirts, which I have seen at our shows. So we've got a very disparage our customers. They're wonderful, but I don't think many of them are vaccinated. I'll put it that way.
Oh, sure.
God bless them.
Takes a village.
Literally. Yeah, it definitely wasn't. I'm trying to think, I was thinking about the technology of the year, and I kind of came up with this theory, and I'm curious your thoughts on it. And I just totally made it up. It's not a thing. But think about technology trends over time. And I feel like right now we're in a transition. Because if you look at like the 1980s, it was computer hardware. And you look at the 1990s, it was computer software. You look at the 2000s, the internet. And you look at the 2010, it was sort of the personal gadget, watches, whatever. It's sort of the personal gadget. I feel like we're starting to leave that because there isn't as much excitement around the phones, around the watches. The innovation's really slowed down. It's Samsung's got one, Apple's got one, and that's it. Like there's nothing really new happening. And I'm trying to think I feel like really was the first year I noticed that, and I'm trying to figure out what will we're now, you do the math, we're 20% of the way through this decade. What is the 2020s going to be known for? And you can take guesses. I think if you had asked people a year ago, maybe it was cryptocurrency. I don't know if they feel that way anymore. Maybe it's the AR, VR mixed reality stuff. Maybe it's apps and services. Maybe it's I'm not quite sure, but I'm just curious your thoughts. A, does that like make sense? And B, what could we see coming in the next year and the rest of the decade?
The rest of the decade. I think you're right about the phones. Like, what is a phone? I feel like we've reached peak phone mostly, unless they start implanting them in our wrists or something like that.
Well, people don't want to carry any more stuff. Like I genuinely think we've reached peak like personal all day on my body type technology. And I think why smart sunglasses never took off, and some of this other stuff where I think we're good.
I could still see like, I don't know. I can imagine a world where like AR glasses are like a thing, but it seems like I feel like the bad version of AR sunglasses is never going to catch on. So it can't be a thing until it is like perfected to the point where like your actual glasses are replaceable with AR glasses. And that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I don't know. Maybe what do you think about like all the AI stuff this year? Like that's been
Fascinating, and revving up real fast. I mean, it seemed like at the beginning of this year we weren't
right.
talking
It's
about
like
it at
one thing
all.
after another. Right.
It's coming and going quickly. I think, again, doing that future predicting stuff, I'm going to try and stay optimistic on it. Again, like most technologies, it's going to have its upsides and its downsides. But boy, I think the specific applications of it in business and in products could really be a leap like the internet was to the computer. It's I wish I remember the name. There's a service. It's been around for years that where you would use it to fight tickets, like parking tickets and speeding tickets, and it had all these forms and it would like walk you through the process. Well, I was just reading the guy's written an AI now for his site that will literally contact the town for you. Like it'll do put in your information and it will like automatically do all this stuff for you. And I'm like, there's so many. It's more about the automation side of AI that gets me excited to take some of the actions away from me as a person. That's actually helpful to my life. Like carrying more devices is not helpful. I have enough. I'm good. But when you can, like I need to reschedule, like if that could just be done and all I have to type is someone is, hey, change my appointment to a Wednesday in January. And that kind of stuff is exciting. Now, do I need like the Jarvis personal assistant Alexa bullshit? No, I don't. Like that. And by the way, we can talk about that. I think the voice activated stuff in the home is dead. I think I'm so over it, and I think most people are. Anyway, I've rambled a bit. I'm curious what you think.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. Like the text one, the chat is it Chat GPT? That's the
Yeah.
one. I haven't tried it myself, but I feel like there has been a lot of buzz in the programmer community because you can ask it to write code for you, and it will like write code that like works. Like it can like do the thing. Um, and so I feel like there's been some like, like, well, is programming dead now that this thing can do it? But I feel like it's like the things it can do are like what you were describing with the guy with the parking ticket form. Like it can do stuff that was busy work. Like
Right.
that is like where it's like I don't need to think about, for me to do that. Like obviously I can do the things it can do. But the thing holding me back from doing that is how fast I can type it. Like all the bullshit that I've typed in like 100 times before in my life. Um, so I think it's kind of exciting from that perspective. Like I should probably try it out. Maybe I'll do that this week while it's the holidays.
It's so interesting because I've seen a lot of studies, especially with Chat GPT, where people have kind of tested it, and it definitely has its downsides where it doesn't quite understand everything, and it kind of, but it's funny. It's this idea that everyone said, oh, the spreadsheet on the computer is going to put accountants out of business, or
Right.
this technology, it's going to eliminate, and it's like, no, all these people just became computer programmers, and God forbid computer programming is ever automated. People are just going to get trained to be good at automating the programming.
Right.
It's all cyclical. It always comes back. And someone
You
has
just
to
like
supervise
move up the stack, if you will.
up the intelligence food chain.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean but then you start talking about 4-day work weeks, right? And you start talking about some of these real futuristic ideas where, I've noticed it. I have a pretty average office job. It's not high tech by any stretch, but me and people my age are able to do things way faster on the computer than older people because we know how to use it. And you think about this next generation, if AI starts getting integrated, they're going to be better at using it. They're going to be faster, and they're going to be able to do a week of work in a fraction of the time.
Right. Like what work will be different because you're not pushing papers around or whatever like that.
Well,
I think it's interesting because like I feel like there's so much of the world that has moved online and into computers, but there's also a lot of the world that is like not at all, right? Like there are things you still have to like, like calling the doctor's office to reschedule an appointment. Like you still have to do that. And sometimes you have to wait on hold for an indefinite amount of time and
mhm.
sitting there like twiddling your thumbs waiting for someone to call. So like maybe that's if it's like two AI, two stupid computer things, they can just sort of like fuzzy talk to each other in the same way people do. Maybe that's good. On the other hand, like they're probably going to mess things up all the time, and then you'll have to do it. You'll probably have
Well,
to wait on hold for even longer.
and that's why and that's where I wonder if creative skills become bespoke in the future, where an AI writes 80% of art, 80% of writing, and it's only when you need something very specific or very creative that an individual, which by the way I think this would be terrible and actually would be really disappointing, but I'm just saying I think this is where it's going, where it's sort of like Etsy, where you would have to go and hire a creative person because the AI can't do the very specific thing. But someone like me, where it's like, oh, I need a picture of a construction worker holding some of our screws in front of a building, like an AI can generate that. I don't need a photographer
Right.
or a person to do
Yeah.
that.
Or like stock photo sites dead. Right?
Yeah,
Like
honestly,
replaced.
you are not wrong.
Yeah.
Listen, I might end up putting my photographer out of business, poor guy, and I like him, so I don't want to do that to poor Dave.
Right. Right. It's wild. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting slash weird. But voice assistants are dead. You heard it here.
I'm just saying, I just listen. I've got a smart speaker in every room in my house, just about, and I never think ever. I was an early adopter. I was all about it. I've got every integration on the planet. I should be the perfect customer for these guys, and I just don't find the voice that much more efficient than pulling the app up or using a short on my phone or using the. I mean,
A wall
honestly,
switch. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, do you still use
Uh,
smart talkies?
I do. I do. I ask Siri the Siri ball weather almost every day. And almost every time I forget to listen and have to ask her again. And then uh I don't know what it is. Like I feel like she just needs to get to the point faster. Like she's a little too long-winded maybe.
Hmm.
Um and I lose interest before. But I also I do the turning on and off the lights a lot with the Siri ball. Because we have a lot of lights, and all of
Yeah.
them are dimmable, and all of them are smart connected. So we use the scenes, scene things a lot, and that's pretty good. But mostly, I'm trying to think what else. Once in a while, I will add something to the grocery list via Siri. But honestly, if Siri went away, it wouldn't be that big a deal. It's convenient sometimes, but not all the time. A lot of times, like you said, something like pressing when am I not looking at my phone? Like pressing the button on my phone is just as convenient.
And honestly, the shortcuts, that was, I think, one of my favorite things of 2022. If you talk tech, is the customizable home screens on iOS
Oh yeah,
16.
yeah.
Huge winner. But honestly, I've got my first one's the weather, so I can glance at what it's going to be. I've got Overcast. I've got a Google Voice search shortcut, and then I've got one that turns off all my lights when I go to bed. Like that.
There you
That's
go.
most of what I would ask the smart lady to do anyway. And now it's a single tap away.
Right.
I think the phone has gotten better at being faster to to get to things you need where they're not as laborious.
Yeah. 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 I don't know, man. Uh, I think I'm trying to think if Laura uses it for anything that I don't. Also, I have 13 minutes of battery left, so
Oh
we
my
are
God,
officially on the clock.
we gotta speed this
I'm
up.
gonna cranking down my brightness. What's using power? Oh, it's Google Chrome. Well,
Oh yes, and Google Chrome just loves to suck down that battery juice.
Yeah.
Well, here, Colby, why don't it's obviously the end of the year, not a great time to have tech news, but there are a few stories in here. Or we can just talk about anything else you want. The floor is open. There are no rules. No rules at all.
LastPass got hacked. What is up with the LastPass hack? That's
Yeah, this is bad. This is actually pretty bad. So, LastPass disclosed a breach back in August. Well, they updated this week to expand on it and said unauthorized access through a single compromised developer account to portions of the password manager's development environment and took portions of source code and some proprietary technical information, as well as I'm just trying to get the exact quote so I get this right. They got personal information and related metadata, but also they copied customer vault data that include unencrypted website URLs and encrypted data fields such as website username and password, secured notes, and form-filled data. Now, these encrypted files remain secure with AES encryption and can be decrypted with the key derived from your password. However, that if you don't use a particularly complex password and they can guess it, they have all the pieces they need to open the entire password vault.
Don't like that.
Oops.
Big oops. I remember way back in the day, that was a reason I liked 1Password better than that LastPass was that like you the 1Password user were responsible for like dealing with your vault. That's not the case anymore. They do the same thing as LastPass.
Yep.
Now, but what are you gonna do? Terrifying.
Yeah, it's not great. And a reminder too, if you're going to use a password vault, at minimum, make sure your master password is ludicrously complex. Like there's one password you have to remember. Make it zany.
Right.
I'm still on LastPass. I've been on LastPass forever, and I think this is finally the thing that's going to get me because I use my personal stuff is on LastPass, which I signed for a long time ago, but I just signed up all my work accounts on a 1Password 3 years ago, and I like it a lot better. So I think I'm finally going to get around to porting everything over.
Nice.
And switching.
Cool. Terrifying. Good luck.
I mean, this is a good question for you. What are some of your passwords?
Well, I love password 123. It's a classic.
Colby, what's your mother's maiden name? And what street did you grow up on?
I can't tell you that.
You know, I thought about that once. And this is actually an honest question. I would like to know the answer, but those security questions, which are all what high school did you go to? Whatever. Do you put in the actual answer? Because I feel like you're not supposed to.
Right. You know, I usually do, but I try and like pick one that is not on Facebook. I search, I search my
your favorite ice cream flavor or some of those.
Right, or like where did you go to elementary school, or like, like what was the name of your high school mascot? It's like that's a terrible. It's like no one should. Right, right. No one should ever pick that one. I don't like those. They stress. It makes it so stressful.
Because I thought about that once, and I was like, because by the way, that's how a lot of people's accounts get hacked. Is people can guess those. Like it does happen, especially to celebrities. Right. And I'm like, someone wanted to get into one of my accounts and could they figure out this information? And I'm like, I actually don't think it would be that hard, admittedly. Like the street I grew up on, like I'm pretty sure that's somewhere on Google. And my first pet's name, I'm sure there's a photo of that pet somewhere. And if you really wanted to, yeah.
Yeah, right, right. It's a if someone was specifically interested in you, they could figure it out.
Thankfully, nobody is. That's the other thing I'm thankful for is I'm not rich or famous, and stealing my
That's
identity would
great.
do nothing for nobody. So my hope is that they don't even try.
Yep. Insignificant.
You know, if they want my
Absolutely.
identity, I don't want it. They can have it.
Right. Nice. All right, Sean, I'm down to 7 minutes. We should do picks.
Let's move on. Actually, I'm very excited about your pick. And while you're doing that, I'm going to figure out if I have one. But Colby, what's your pick? This thing's cool.
So, my pick is it's the Eve temperature humidity sensor thing. Eve is one of the smart home companies, and they do a lot of the HomeKit compatible stuff, which is great. But this one is cool because it has a bunch of like water resistant, like it is, IPX like 3 or something, like whatever the water resistant thing is, so you could throw it outside if you wanted to. But B, it uses so there's a new like smart home communication protocol called Thread, which is it's like Zigbee or Bluetooth, or it's another option besides Zigbee, Bluetooth, or Wi-Fi. And it's supposed to be designed for smart home stuff specifically. It's like kind of a meshing thing, so it lets smart home devices talk through one another. Like they don't have to connect directly to the base station. But the cool thing, which I had no idea until I was researching these, is like it reaches really far. So I got one for my mom to put in her greenhouse, which is like 60 feet away from the house, and it works. But two, the Siri ball, the HomePod is a Thread router, so it works with this new protocol, and all of them have been since they were made. But there were like no Thread devices back in the day, so Eve has some Thread stuff. So it's pretty cool. But I'm pleased with that so far.
Yeah, this is great. They got a bunch of cool. They got an indoor air quality monitor, which is very interesting.
Right.
And they got, if I were going back and buying smart plugs again, they have a smart plug that's not only a smart plug, but it's a power meter. It'll actually track how much power the plug is using, which is very interesting.
I saw that today. Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. That's cool. So yeah, this is great. That's awesome. And actually I thought it would have been more expensive than what it was. So that's not bad at all. evehome.com. Check out Colby's rated one item, but they got a bunch of others you can check out. Very cool. I got a quick pick. Fanatics. A guy became a billionaire off this idea. He said, every sports league on the planet has branded gear they want to sell, and every one of them has to run their own store. What if I just ran the store for them? And so he started Fanatics.com, which then licensed every sports on the planet. And it's the official store to get all of their branded shirts, hats, gear in general. But what I like about it is not only a one-stop shop, but they're very efficient in shipping, and they have great clearance items where I got the stuff I got my dad for Christmas. So that's why I wanted to pick it. But if you're ever around and looking for some new stuff, check out, don't ever pay full price for anything on their store, because eventually, they'll put stuff on clearance. So actually, I should pick the clearance section, but that's my pick. I picked up a Bruins hat, a couple Patriots hats. And overall, a nice place. He said probably one of the worst. You have my email address. Now you'll send me 1 million marketing emails a day. They're right. Aggressive. I've seen. I will get 4 to 5 emails a day from them. They do not.
Damn, that's crazy.
All right, Colby. I think we have to wrap it up here. The power gods are done with us.
Actually, for some reason, I mean, watch it just immediately dies as I'm saying this, but for some reason, the time remaining has started going up on my computer now.
Oh no, that's not. It's sucking the energy from you.
3
Well-
minutes ago, I had 4 minutes left, and now I have 8 minutes left. So
Fascinating. Well,
what is
Colby,
the
is there
thing
anything
going on?
else you'd like to say or do before we wrap up this Boxing Day episode?
No, 2019, 2022.
This is bad. I don't know what year it is either, so
2019 never ended.
I can't believe it, Colby. We're going into our 10th year of doing the show. Can you believe that?
I can believe it.
It is.
Think we're doing great.
It's beyond wild. As I get a hug from the cat here. I do have to quickly tease before we wrap up, though, Colby. We may have taped one of my favorite Up for Debates we've ever done. Act 1 of Turn Off the Dark, the musical. I'm telling you, pull this up on YouTube on the biggest screen you got. It's the full musical, so you can watch along with us. But Matt and I's commentary through. I having seen it and researched it, him having never seen it before. It was a lot of fun. And coming up, hopefully later this week, we're going to tape Act 2. It was legitimately, listening back, it was really fun. So I recommend people check that out. Over at upfordebate.tv. Don'tPanic.io is our website. You should check that out. All the episodes, including links to the picks we talked about this evening. And of course, you can subscribe wherever you get podcasts with the video version on YouTube. See Colby and I enjoying our weeks off. You can also follow us at Don't Panic Show on Twitter or don'tpanicshow@gmail.com. And we're going to wrap it up here. Rumor has it Dan may be back next week. He said he's likely to join. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed. Wouldn't that be something? We'll get a big update on all his adventures. But until then, on behalf of Colby, I'm Sean. We appreciate you being here. And we're going to see you next time for a 2023 edition of Don't Panic.